Okay, hello Cloud Gurus and welcome to this lecture. This lecture is on DynamoDB. So DynamoDB is Amazon's NoSQL database solution. So it's the opposite of RDS. So what is DynamoDB? Well, it's a fast and flexible NoSQL database service for all applications that need consistent single-digit millisecond latency at any scale. It's a fully managed database service and it supports both document and key value data models. Its flexible data model and reliable performance make it a great fit for mobile, web, gaming, ad tech, IoT, and many other applications. So definitely a lot of mobile developers do use DynamoDB. In this section of the course, we're not going to go in and create a DynamoDB table, but we are going to do it in the serverless section. We're basically going to use our DynamoDB table to store some notes that we want to convert into MP3 files. So please do take notes throughout this course, put them in just plain text, and what we will do is we're going to convert those to an MP3 file using the Poly service, and we're even going to build an Alexa skill to read out our notes to us. We're going to do that in the serverless section of the course. So the basics of DynamoDB are as follows. It's stored on SSD storage, so that's why it is so fast. It's spread across 3 different geographically distinct data centers, so you're going to always have redundancy. And that's got 2 different types of read models. So we've got eventually consistent reads, which is what you're going to get by default. And then we also have strongly consistent reads. So what's the difference between eventual consistent reads and strongly consistent reads? Well, it comes down to the 1 second rule. So with eventually consistent reads, consistency across all copies of your data is usually reached within 1 second. Repeating a read after a short time should return the updated data. So if you've got an application and it's writing to a DynamoDB table, and then you want to read that data that's been written to that table, a couple of seconds later, then that's fine. You want eventually consistent reads, and this will give you the best read performance, and this is enabled by default. However, if you have an application that writes to a DynamoDB table and it needs to read that data within or less than 1 second, then you want strongly consistent reads. And this will basically return a result that reflects all writes that received a successful response prior to the read. So again, the 1 second rule. So long as your application is happy that it doesn't need to read the data that's been written within 1 second, then you want eventually consistent reads. However, if you've got an application that needs to, as soon as an update's been done to a DynamoDB table and that application needs to read that update in 1 second or less, then you're going to want strongly consistent reads. So just remember the 1 second rule for DynamoDB. So really, that's all you need to know for DynamoDB in the Certified Solutions Architect Associate exam. Like I said, we are going to cover it off in the serverless section of the course where we'll go in and provision it in a lab. But before we learn about DynamoDB, we really need to understand a whole bunch of different other serverless services. So we're going to go through things like lambda, etc. And then what we're going to do is we're going to build out a lab that does use DynamoDB. So going into your exam, just remember it's stored on SSD storage. It's spread across 3 geographically distinct data centers. You probably want eventually consistent reads. You get this by default, so long as your application writes to the table and then your application won't read that data within the first second, then you want eventually consistent reads. If it is going to read that data within 1 second of it being written to the table, then you want strongly consistent reads. So that is it for this lecture, guys. If you have any questions, please let me know. If not, feel free to move on to the next lecture. Thank you.